My name is Harjeet Wasan, and currently I'm working with the Chaudhary Group of Nepal, and I am the general manager for their properties in Nepal, and there is a property coming up in Bhutan. So my total experience is of around 28 years. I started my career in 1991, and my background is purely of food and beverage management, whereas my specialization now has been into pre-openings, new setups, turnarounds, and asset management. So I have worked in countries like Singapore. I worked in Dubai. I worked in Russia. I worked in Mongolia. So various countries, and also then I worked in a lot of cities of India like Jaipur, Goa, uh, Delhi NCR. So that has been my total experience basically.
Okay. Okay, that's great. That's great. So, I mean, yeah, you have a lot of experience, actually. So, I just want to ask you, what do you think your biggest, you can say, a skill or capability which made you till the successful in your career until now?
Basically what I feel, being a hospitality person, you just need to have few things, which is your passion. So it's
Mm-hmm.
an industry which is led by passion. If you
Mm.
have passion for that, you will be successful. Second is your PR skills. If you are people's person, so you will be successful, because our industry moves only on our relationship with your colleagues, with your subordinates, with your guests and
Mm.
people who are patronizing you. So that's what I feel, that this is a very very industry where passion counts a lot.
Yeah, yeah, and
So
passion
my
can
strength is
teach.
my passion for the industry and my
Mm.
PR skills.
Mm-hmm. So the rest of the skills like the hotel management or front office or the technical aspects you can learn, but the basic ingredient you need is the passion.
Yes, and this is a very very common sense industry, I call it. It's a very very
Mm-hmm.
common sense. If you have that common sense, you will be successful, be whatever position you are on.
Yeah, yeah, correct. You're right. You're right. Okay, that's great. And looking it in back in your career, what are the challenges that you think are normally there, or you have overcome those challenges already, which can help the peoples to understand, okay, yes, there may be these challenges, I may need to prepare for these challenges, the youngsters who are starting out their career in the hotel management now.
What I feel is, the youngsters who are getting into this field, they should, actually know what they are getting into. And as
Hmm.
I said, this is exactly like an industry, like, what we call like our Bollywood or acting, or, you have to have that passion to
Hmm.
go for it.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
have it in you, you will be successful. There will be no stopping on it. And as
Hmm.
I said, there's nothing very technical about it, very very common sense based. If you are, it's like, you are interested in that, and you will be successful in that.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Yeah.
as I say that, when you reach to a certain level of a HOD or a general manager, there, more than anything, what you need to do is, you have to have a very good equation between the management company and the ownership,
Hmm.
because both are the stakeholders, and you are the person who is right in the middle of it, and you have to handle both the sides and let it be a very smooth operation.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. You have been working in the food and beverage, and you have been an expert in food and beverage. So, if I can ask you, mostly in food and beverage department, or what are the skills that you think to become a successful manager or a leader that the person must have, apart from the passion and the common sense?
In food and beverage, what I say, and even for the hospitality, what I say, consistency is the key to success. You know, if you are into a concept, you suppose you are into an Indian restaurant or into a you know, continental, whatever cuisine you are serving, you know, it is to what level is one thing. You know, you are 8 out of 10 or you are 6 out of 10, but then consistency is the key. A person who's coming to your restaurant for that service and that food, the experience should be same whenever he's coming. So the SOPs are very, very important. Your standard recipes are very, very important. So for a food and beverage to be successful, consistency is the key. You know, a person should get what he's coming for. And when he comes next time, the same kind of service and food should be delivered to him.
And how about like the do you think the menu engineering skills or marketing skills are important for food and beverage managers?
Yes, definitely. Your food and beverage manager should know his numbers. He should know his product. He should know his target clientele. And then he should deliver to those clientele with the numbers he's working on. So, you know, he should be very, and then the best part about a manager of a restaurant or a food and beverage, he has to be a very hands-on. You know, he should be, you know, meeting his guests. He should be serving when the need be, because nowadays the labor costs are high everywhere.
Yes,
so this is what we learned when I was in Singapore. I was managing a chain of restaurants. So we were running on a very, very tight manpower. We did not have the luxury of how we used to run operations in India at that time. Now, even in India, the operations are run on a very, very tight manpower because manpower cost is very high now.
So means that productivity also has to be important.
Yes, definitely. The productivity has to be important, and then you have to lead by example. If you are hands-on, your subordinates are also hands-on.
Correct. I think that at the moment, the hospitality industry is running through a lot of stress, right? So how do you de-stress yourself now?
No, you see now, I think for last 6 months, we all have been, you know, work from home, restaurants or hotels have been closed, but that's happening in the whole of the world. So, you know, you are not the only ones. But yes, I feel our industry, like tourism industry and our related industries like aviation and all, are badly hit. And the last industry to pick up will be hospitality, but I say that restaurants will pick up because that is your local business. You know, that business comes from within the premise or the place where you are in. So the moment we feel that, you know, people have that confidence of you know, moving out, the food and beverage will pick up fast, and then second will be your rooms division, where, you know, you have to depend on people from outside your place.
But how are you managing your positivity now?
You know, now it is just that, you know, you have to, it is all like, you know, you are reinventing and you are, you know, going back to the basics basically. So the as every industry, we have work from home, we have leave without pay, there are cuts, there are places which are shut. So then you just need to, you know, get into that mode of, you know, managing yourself, managing your team, keeping them you know, busy with your future projects or something like that.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So you are doing any yoga or something to keep yourself recharged?
That you know, that I have been always there, be it post COVID or pre COVID. I do my regular walks twice a day. I do my meditation in the morning. So those are the things you, because you see, as such, when we say it's a passion industry, there is a lot of ups and downs when we are on the floor. So I feel with passion, you know, even patience is something which you learn. So the patience, the way you deal with your stress, because you have all different type of people that you deal with. So when you do your meditation, when you feel good inside you, you have that thing coming out for your guest as well.
Yeah, correct. So that's the key to keep yourself happy and
Yes,
motivated
you
and
know,
positive.
patience is something which even post COVID it will be required, because if you are in this industry, you have to be cool as a cucumber.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good analogy. Cool as a cucumber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be, you can't be aggressive or something
Mm.
with your guests.
How important is the learning, like continuous learning? Because, for example, like other professions, be chartered accountant, lawyer, or doctor, they have to continuously study and learn the new things. How important is the continuous learning for hospitality peoples?
I have a very strong liking for training and development. I always say that our industry is a ever evolving industry. So we have to, keep learning and keep training. Trainings and learnings have to go on. As I related the passion with our Bollywood and film industry, learning and training, I always relate to our army. Like in the army, every day the Jawans are doing Vishram and Savdan. They've been trained. They know it, but they are again being trained every time. So this is what we keep doing it, like how we train our staff for wishing the guests, smiling, you know, being positive, being polite. So training and learning is the key to a successful hospitality operation. So, if I cut staffing in other departments, but I always, as a general manager, have a very, very strong training and learning department who keeps on repeating the things with our staff. We can't say that I have given you this training, now you're trained for it. It is not that. The refresher has to keep on and on.
So, what are the subjects that you think or you recommend to be a good, successful, let's say, a front office manager or a F&B manager or a engineering manager or maybe a director level or go to a GM? So, what are the things apart from like the wishing and guest selling? The specific skills that you think that maybe for example the finance or other things, what they should know?
What I say is soft skills are always there. Soft skills like telephone etiquette, your greetings to the guest, your other soft skills, your body posture, your how your body posture is very, very important. But then other than that, every department has some technicalities involved. Like I say, for revenue department, they have to be very, very glued on with your current scenarios, with the latest things that are happening with online portals and your various deals that are happening. When you go to engineering has to be very, very up, with the trends, that what are your cost saving, what are your energy saving things that are happening. So those technical skills of an engineer needs to be revamped, and he should be always on a training mode. Then when it comes to your front office, what softwares he or she are using should be very well versed for that person, so that check-in checkouts are as fast as possible. Your maintaining of reservations is as good without any minus dates or something. So every
Mm.
department has their plus and minus. Like your kitchen is very, very important, where you have that control of the food cost. So you should know what is your market that is there. The purchase department has to be very, very updated with what are the market rates that are going on. So every department has to play a role, and they have to do that training and research exercises in their uh, departments.
Okay, yeah, great. So, if I ask you, let's say you are going to hire a front office manager or you're going to hire a finance manager or a F&B manager, what are the skills that you look into them in terms of soft attitude and the technical skills in these positions? What are the few things?
Okay. Now what I first my thing is, looking at the person and looking at him, how hungry that person is for this job. That will really, really put the pace for the interview. Like, sometimes, when we do head hunting, a person is there in a good company, he's well settled. So when you call him, he is very very, stomach is full. So that
Hmm.
person is very relaxed. But if you need some person who wants to prove himself, so I would really look at it when a number two is being interviewed for a number one position for my place. So that person has that fire into him, that yes, I want to prove myself. And as I said, our industry is very common sense, and all these technical skills can be trained. So only thing is, what you need to look at it, that what brands that person has worked, what
Hmm.
is his or her qualification that is there, and how hungry that person is for that job.
Yeah, correct, correct. So it's basically the his attitude towards the job and how his passion towards learning and towards working, and
Right.
how much efforts that he normally he want to take it into for searching a job or applying a job, or is he following up
True. True.
or not, or he reached you maybe in private, or try to find some common grounds that can
Sure.
be easily to hire. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good thing. And what are the skills that you do not want in your staff? That these are the skills that you want, and there must be something that, oh, these are like, okay, if somebody say like this, or somebody show some kind of attitude, they are gone. So what are those things?
Yeah, I do. I basically, for me, I'm a very people's person. I work with a team. So people, who are very self-centric, or people who are into that office politics, is something which I do not encourage at all.
Mm-hmm.
So those kind of people, I kind of not encourage a lot. Otherwise, I'm okay with working with anybody and everybody. And then, as I said, it is the atmosphere of your organization that will develop that person. So if the
Mm-hmm.
atmosphere is fine, I think anybody or everybody will gel into that.
Correct. What are the maybe you can if you remember one incident in your F&B management life where you made the guest super happy, or the guest was saying that wow, like a wow experience. Do you have any remembrance of that?
There are so many of
So
them.
many, so difficult to choose.
It is actually, and it's been a very long career. It's been, and
Hmm.
for me, I always tell even my subordinates, my colleagues, that a guest who's leaving your premise, if he's a happy guest, you are successful in that. So in
Hmm.
Goa days, when I used to do these weddings, I was a director food and beverage with a five-star hotel there. So when we used to actually do the weddings and all those things, so that is something where your skills come in place. Like, I'll give you a small example.
Yes.
In our Indian weddings, we have that, and in Goa, if you know a destination wedding, everything is done in that big resort. So there was a time when we had you have that horse where the groom sits. So the
Mm-hmm.
horse had some problem, and then horse has to be taken, and
Hmm.
the barat was ready to start. So immediately what we did was, we have those golf carts. So
Hmm.
immediately I got my housekeeping, my florist and all that, and we decorated that golf cart, and the groom was sitting on that golf cart in the barat to go around. So
Hmm.
that those are the things you do it at that moment. And
That's
then
really a classic way of innovation. You can say is a classic example of
and also
innovating
I
things.
tell you, yes, and it was a long run, and the problem with that golf cart was that it was half charged. So there was staff, so there was staff next to the golf cart, that we would put it off when the people were dancing, and then we'll put it on, and then to some level we were pushing that golf cart also, so that nobody feels that it stopped with the groom inside that. So those are the things you remember.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted to ask, because there must be some incidents which are like, out of the skew, and you cannot forget those events. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
very good event. Use of your presence of mind and use of your resources immediately to identify what we can do to please the or to solve the guest problems, basically.
Yes, you need to be, very, very proactive, and you need to do that actually.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's always a teamwork. You can't just rely on yourself. So every department has to be, on that same tangent.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And any incident that you remember where the guest was not happy at all, or there must be, because everybody makes mistakes, and teams
Yes, yes.
makes
There
things.
was. I still remember it.
Mm.
In Singapore, I was there, and what happened was that he was a vegetarian, and we served him a chicken momo basically.
Oh,
So, and
okay.
that is something, for a person who's having this kind of religious things. But it could not be, the moment he had a bite of that, he could understand. But then,
Mm.
it was a mistake from the kitchen, that the packing was there, and
Mm.
so I had to really apologize to him and had to keep on visiting him and, doing all that. So we
Mm.
did that.
So, what are the few things that you would recommend? Because we every hotel has these kind of incidents, right? So, what are the
Yeah.
things that you in like maybe in a series of steps that you must take when you have a complaint that you must be taking to recover that kind of guest?
I always say complaints will happen. No matter what you do, there will be some complaint happening somewhere. So there are steps like first, as I said, that as a manager or as a person on floor, you should make that rapport with your guest before only that the guest is yours. Okay, so like, if suppose I do a mistake with a friend, the friend will take it normally, not very, very harsh. But suppose if you don't make a rapport with your guest,
Mm.
and if on top of that you make a mistake, it's a blunder.
Yeah, yeah.
So I always say that the first step is make a rapport with your guest in the beginning only, with or without any complaint. So if once the rapport is there, then you are on one stage ahead. Second is, if there is a complaint and you know it is a complaint, don't be defensive and don't try to, give excuses. Accept it because it
Mm.
is there.
Mm.
It's a mistake. So accept it. And then whatever is the course of action, you should take it, and you should be, remorseful. You should put yourself in the shoes of the guest and then do whatever need be for service recovery. You don't have to think maybe if I void his bill, I will lose out on some little money, but it is not little money. If that guest goes back and talks bad about you, then you lose a lot of money which you can't even calculate.
Yeah, yeah. That's right.
So sometimes, the restaurant managers or junior level have this in mind. Oh, if I do a void of a bill, or I, give him a discount, I will lose this money. But that's
Mm.
not the way. Maybe even the guest is not happy that time, but after you have done the service recovery, he will not come back, but at least he will not talk bad about you. But if he goes back unhappy, he will tell 10 people and then you lose out on that money.
Yeah.
So giving a discount or a avoiding of a bill at that time is not a problem, basically what I say.
Mm, mm, mm. So, I mean, speaking about the junior staff and the managers who are trying to, because sometimes they are scared of taking action or recovering the guest with voiding or giving discounts or giving things for free. How do you really try to build it into the culture or into their minds that they can do whatever they want to do for service recovery?
Yes. So what I say is this, now this is the job of the top boss, because you will have to empower your staff, that yes, you need to give that you know uh, kind of a service to, and then later on, you see what happens is, if a staff is taking some actions, so in 10 maybe he will do 8 right and 2 will be wrong. But how you do deal with those 2 wrongs so that he is still taking those 8 right decisions. If you go after that person will stop taking decisions, and then he will not even take a single right decision. Right now, at least out of 10 he's taking 8 right decisions.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll give you a small example of a restaurant in Cyber Hub, Gurgaon. We were all hoteliers, and my CEO was with me, and we were having lunch there, and then CEO ordered some different drink, and at the end of the meal or in the middle of the meal, the steward, I'm talking about not even a manager or a captain, a steward came and saw his glass and said, "Sir, your glass is still full. You've not had that drink." So my
Hmm.
CEO said, "I did not really enjoy it." He
Hmm.
just picked it up and said, "Sir, what do you enjoy? What flavors do you enjoy?
Hmm.
I'll just change it." A steward did that, and my CEO
Hmm.
was empowerment that restaurant has given to the people.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a very great culture. I mean, but it takes, I think, guess some time to build that kind of culture into the organization
It,
where
as
even a
you
steward
asked
can take it.
Manish in before, as you asked before about training, so this is
Yeah,
the culture that you should have in your training by examples. So otherwise, if you look at, you are a finance person, if you look at, if the steward will take that drink, he will go back, he will have to void that, he will have to write explanation, then the bartender will ask him for a KOT, then he will give the drink. But the things were so smooth that he just picked up that drink, got him another drink, and later whatever things need to be done, that needs to be done to have accountability of
internal
all that.
controls.
But
Yeah.
then, yeah, so that would have been done, I'm sure.
Hmm.
Though, so you have to train your staff in a way that let the guest have it what you want, and then you do your accountability. You have a reasoning to write that guest did not like that drink. The drink was returned, so the bartender sees that, because if you give such kind of empowerments, there could be mismanagement of money there also. Pilferage could be there. So you should have all the controls there. The drink should be returned to the bartender. The bartender should write a KOT, whatever. So these are the things you should do in your trainings, but
Yeah.
the empowerment should be there.
So means the internal control processes should not be hampering the guest engagement.
Service.
Actually, it just should be
Yes.
supporting it in a way that even though the
True.
steward has to do it, the process should be supporting him in a way that, okay, even if he has to do it, he can come back and he need to return the things, and the back of the things can continue to work. But it should not be
Yeah.
a hindrance
So
to the
the
customer satisfaction.
yes. So I'm not saying that there should be no controls. The controls, all the procedures should be there, but these things have to be defined by the senior management.
Well, that's great. That's great. Talking from the customer to the another aspect of the customer service is the design of the menu or the pricings, because nowadays the peoples are getting to get a local clientele more than the international clients. The hotels may find it very difficult to compete with like a local standing restaurants in order to get the clients.
Sure.
So what are the things that you would advise them to redesign their menu, or how to fix the prices basically?
For this thing, I always say, know your target clientele. You should know your target clientele. That is very important. Then you
Hmm.
should know your competition. So the comp set analysis is something where your manager plays a very important role, where you actually do the analysis that what are you targeting for. And then we discuss a lot about food cost and all that. But what I say is that food cost will only happen when you do some selling. Suppose there is nil selling, then food cost is doesn't play any part.
Yeah,
Your food cost could be zero, but your revenue also is zero.
yeah,
So
yeah.
once I was in a corporate hotel where we saw rooms doing very well, where we saw our breakfast time very good, but then we realized that our dinner sales of room service is very very slow, because the corporate hotel was in right in the place where a lot of restaurants were outside. So we were looking at what is my corporate client looking for. So then your market survey plays a very important role. So we found out that our prices were very high, our portions were very big, being a hotel. So if a single traveler is staying, he can go out and have a thali where he can have small portions of so many things.
Hmm.
But then if in the room he orders, he can order only one dish,
Hmm. Hmm.
a dish
Hmm.
of 600, 700, 1,000 rupees. So then I designed like a tiffin. for the room service. So it looked also nice. It was an actual tiffin that you carry to your office and all
Workplace.
that. So in that we had small compartments, and we priced it as outside. So maybe the food cost for that tiffin was there, but then we captured that clientele who was having that tiffin in the dinner time. So these are the things you need to understand, because you have to see the need of your people.
Yeah, correct, correct. And then if you are able to capture one segment, then you can capture the other type of revenue, like maybe beverage or other aspects, right?
Yeah. So if once you hold your person, because suppose a person is going out to have a thali outside and you don't have a thali or a tiffin, he might pick up a drink there, right? So if you entice him to have that tiffin in the room, anybody from a corporate who's been in the office whole day would actually not want to go down and sit in a small restaurant and have. But then they have their limitation of their budgets and the allowances, so they can't afford. So let's allowance get that allowancing rate and give that to them, or we design a MAP for those people so that they are having your dinners with you in the hotel. So these are few things that one does.
Once you have the peoples in your, the other aspect of the profitability, as you were saying, that is gonna be like labor cost, which is very high. So you need to manage the labor productivity. So how do you roster the peoples and how you make them productive?
I always say that if there is a lean mean team, no, it is always productive, because the more people you have, everybody thinks that the other person will do the job. So if you Google my name and that, so my last job with Hilton Garden in at Lucknow, I did a staffing of zero point 0.6, which was a record in itself. So I ran that 125 keys hotel with banqueting and F&B with 75 staff.
Wow, it's actually the
So
other way around. You should
yeah,
have at least
so
200
because
people based on the normal standard of the hotels, right?
yeah, so that was my thing, and I was running perfect operations there. There was no hassles. We've even done 100% occupancy in that. But
Wow.
then what I need to do is that if there is a banquet, so my purchase manager is standing behind the bar, my security manager is handling the guest there. So these are the things we need to work as a team. So
How did you manage it then? Because there will normally be things that I am not a trained F&B manager, I'm not a trained bar, my main job is purchasing, why should I do the banquet, and who will do my purchasing jobs then? So how do you manage this thing then?
no, this is how your teamwork happens. A purchase manager is busy only during the daytime. Now, banquet function is happening in the evening, so you need to ask him, "Watch today. You stay back for a while." And if as a leader you are managing your team, and it is like everybody is working as a team, they will do for you. They will actually do it for you.
It depends on the
So I
leadership.
have yeah, it's all about leadership. And you have to lead by the example. Like, there are times when I, being a general manager, I have took luggage from the reception to the rooms. So if you do that, then your team is all after you, and they will work. So that's what we've been doing.
So you cannot ask the peoples to be ultra productive unless you yourself are ultra productive.
Yes, and I have no, shame or anything. Like, if I pick up the luggage of the guest, so what? We are all in hospitality. We need to do it. So in that hotel, we did a lot of these things. The front office manager was standing on the counter, relieving the receptionist, because we had we had 9 staff only in the whole front office. So including the front office manager. So you need to be there. You can't be just sitting in the office. So these are the things which we do.
So there were no problems of overload or burnout. So how did you keep the people motivated and eager
You
to
know,
work?
in that point 6 Manning, we were working on 5 days week also.
Oh my God.
So, so, and I always said that, you know, when you have a 5 day week, you take 2 days off, but those 5 days you are fully charged.
Hmm.
I have seen my team there, they were fully charged. After that 2 days leave, they were fully charged. So that was actually a very, very great thing that we did. And also what I did, Manishji, was that we were on a 33% female workforce, which
Wow.
was way, way above the Hilton standard of India. India was running on 19%. So in that, we were on a 33% female staff.
Wow.
In
Wow.
my security, I took two girls who were supervisors from ex-policemen.
Hmm.
So, you know, I did a lot of things there. And as I discussed before, if you remember how hungry you are, so for a duty manager, I took a Kingfisher air hostess who was sitting at home for some time because the Kingfisher Airlines had closed down.
Hmm.
So, so I did all these, and that was in tier two city like Lucknow, where you know hard to
Hmm.
find ladies.
Talent, yeah. But then they were supposed to work like extra hours, or they were working their normal hours.
Normal hours, just a few hours up over and above, but then you could be flexible when there are lean days, you could let them go early. You
Hmm.
know, you need to
Hmm.
manage. You just
Hmm.
need to manage. You need to keep the team happy, and people do it. And I always say, you know, if you can't do your work in that 8, 9 hours of your shift, you can't do it anytime.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
manage that time and then move on.
So how did you
It is,
did you had a lot of like equipments or automated jobs, or you reduced any procedures to, because in
yes,
order to make it happen the point six, you need to have a lot of, you may need to forego a lot of standards or the old generated style kind of jobs which are the historically required in hospitality.
yes. Now, you know, for doing that, you need to have all the, softwares which are very fast. You know, when you do work on Opera and all that,
Hmm.
the check-in checkouts hardly take 2 to 5 minutes.
Hmm.
So, you know, and if you have done your pre-reg before, you know, it's just that the guest comes. And also at that Hilton Garden Inn, we had, that you could use your smartphone as your key. So the guest would only come to the counter, and because India needs that, your
Registration.
no, your ID
KYC.
voter,
Ah,
that
okay.
your
Yeah.
ID proof,
Mm-hmm.
and that ID proof also now, if he's a regular guest and you have it in your data, you can just pick that up also. So those things were there definitely, but
Mm-hmm.
then uh, anytime we do have contact there with the guest, so we need to do that. But
Mm-hmm.
these days in F&B, what we are using is we are using that, you scan your phone with that QR, and then you can actually order from your phone. So the order directly gets placed in your kitchen. So the
Mm.
KOT gets printed. So there's no order taking or somebody coming with the menu. So those are the things that are happening now. So you can control your staffing at this time now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's more of looking at the process and see how technology can help. Probably
Yes,
that's maybe another mantra of reducing the head count.
sure.
And how was the maintenance done then?
What is that?
Maintenance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maintenance, you know what, for maintenance, what I see is your chief engineer and the general manager have to do a lot of rounds. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
can't sit in your office and, say all things are doing fine. You know, you need to actually go for your rounds 2, 3 times a day so that check out how your machines are running, what is your power factor, what is your consumption of diesel, where are the loopholes, because we all know that HLP, labor, and food cost are your three major costs. So you
Yeah.
need to control these three costs at any time. So I'll give you another example of labor cost and maintenance cost. That for our swimming pool in that hotel in Lucknow, we did not have a person who would clean that pool. Now you have a robot. Just put that robot inside the pool, and
Mm.
it will do all that cleaning. So
Uh-huh.
you save on your labor cost, and that cleans your pool to very good levels.
Hmm.
So you just put it, you plug it in, and that it moves around all over the pool and cleans it.
Wow, that's
So
great.
this is what technology is, there. And then
Hmm.
you have your auto cuts of your usage of the electricity wherever
Hmm.
people are not using it. It gets off, and if somebody there is a motion sensors are there, it gets on. So you save a lot of
Hmm.
electricity.
Hmm.
Your solar is another thing which you need to do it to
Hmm.
have lesser energy consumption.
Hmm. Hmm. Wow, that's really great, actually. So I can imagine how efficiently the hotel might be running with the only 60.6 ratio.
Yep.
Super.
Runs pretty well, but everybody has to be motivated.
Yeah, I mean that
People
it
have to be.
requires like a huge level of motivation and also a lot of planning
Yes,
into the
planning,
operations.
leading by example,
Mm, mm,
motivation, teamwork. So
mm,
if you do all this, I think you are success.
mm, mm, mm.